5 takeaways of the game, where we look at 5 things we can learn from the game and the win against Liverpool. So let's get into that. The first takeaway we have is perfect Porro, and I thought Pedro Porro for me was my man of the match. I thought he was exceptional throughout. The stats I think speak for themselves: 6 tackles, more than anyone on the pitch, 5 clearances, 1 interception, 3 key passes, 1 dribble as well, 7 out of 10 ground duels completed, and obviously he assisted that last minute winner, which I thought was just a cherry on top of what was an incredible performance from Pedro Porro for a player who's just improving week on week.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. He is improving week on week, to be honest. Defensively is what we were all worried about coming into this season. It doesn't seem to faze him. He seems to be getting better defensively every single week, and it's not bad like for Pedro Porro to do that against under a manager who said like he doesn't take any pride in keeping clean sheets and his defensive stats and everything like that. He seemed to have brought Pedro Porro on absolute leaps and bounds from a defensive standpoint. It hasn't taken away anything from his attacking output as well. Like I said in the player ratings, that goal does not happen if Emerson Royale is there and Pedro Porro isn't on the pitch. So I couldn't be more happy with the way Pedro Porro is playing at the moment.
Yeah, 100% agree. Next up, we have Son, the Liverpool killer, who got another goal yesterday against Liverpool, which makes it 6 goals in his last 7 games against Liverpool after he opened the scoring yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't his most amazing performance, but he was definitely involved in a lot of the great actions that we did have. He opened the scoring. He had a great volley, which was saved by Alisson as well, which could have put us in the lead. He did have a goal ruled out from offside as well. So even in a game where he clearly wasn't 100%, and Postecoglou did say before the game, after the game, there was always the plan to maybe take him off after the hour. He still did make an impact even under those circumstances. And look, at 6 goals now in 7 games in the Premier League as well. So he started the season phenomenally when it comes to goal scoring, chasing down Haaland, who's obviously away in the Golden Boot race. But look, maybe he really is that substitute, that number 9 that we were looking for all along.
He is that guy. Sonny is that guy. I mean, you don't find someone in the Premier League that has better finishing than Heung-min Son. He's got better finishing than Erling Haaland, Heung-min Son. I mean, at least Haaland is missing sitters every game, and as much as he's scoring. But Heung-min Son, he just needs one chance. That's all he needs, and it's in the back of the net. He showed it against Arsenal. He showed it against Liverpool, and he's going to keep showing it throughout the season. This guy is an elite striker in terms of his finishing and his movement in behind. And I felt like if this game went on with 11 men for longer, you probably would have seen Heung-min Son get even more chances and probably scored another goal.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So the circumstances of the game probably went against him in a weird way, even though we had the extra man. But I think the fact that he wasn't 100%, but Postecoglou said he was just so desperate to play, and he needed to start, and he feels that responsibility for the team. And the fact that he started and got the goal, and could have had another with a volley as well, just shows the quality and the responsibility he holds. And he's just an incredible player, an incredible captain for us as well. And I just love to see that passion at the end of the game. Next takeaway is extra man struggles, and this is just the evidence of how we did struggle when they did go down to 9 men to really create any chances, and when they went into that low block. In the 40 minutes that we played against Liverpool's 10 men, we created 1.51 XG, and we looked like we created a lot more chances, a lot more dangerous. But in the 30 minutes that we played against 9 men, we only created 0.64 XG, which I think shows how we did really struggle to really break them down and create any chances. And it was a bit concerning that it was not necessarily about the lack of creativity that we had. It was just that we failed to ask enough questions, I felt, when they went down to 9 men, and it felt like we didn't really know what approach was best to take, and maybe that's something to learn from. But I did feel like once they went down to 10 men, albeit it was always going to be difficult, we did really struggle to create any sort of opportunities.
It seemed like we looked a bit like disjointed going forward. And like you say, it's like we didn't know how to manage the game at that point because we've never been there. And maybe Ange hasn't kind of prepared to play against 9 men, which is fair enough. But I think, look, it's a lesson that Spurs are going to have to learn from. in terms of what you've seen so far from Spurs, this is probably, and that period of the game is probably the most disjointed we've looked under Ange Postecoglou, and it's no kind of surprise that it was against 9 men. They've completely just put every man behind the ball. It's something that we just weren't planning for, and we should have done better and should have navigated the game better at that stage. But I always felt it was going to be really difficult against 9 men because of the way they were going to set up.
Yeah, and that's what it proved to be. But look, we did end up getting that win in the end, thanks to an own goal. But let's hope next time we don't have to rely on that to get the victory. But I'll take it any day of the week. Next up, we talk about Richarlison's improvement. And obviously, so ever since really he's come back from international break and he's spoken about his being open about his struggles in his personal life and all that stuff, I do feel like there's been a big improvement from Richarlison on the pitch, and I think yesterday was another case of that. I think on the day 5 shots, which is more than anyone, 2 shots on target, 2 key passes, one of them being the assist as well for Humenson's opening goal. Off the ball as well, he had 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, really working hard for the team. He did hit the post as well, which was very close to doubling Spurs' lead at the time. Unfortunately, when he did move centrally, he did really seem to struggle because he was a lot more involved in the game when he was off the left. But for the 30 minutes that he was central, he only had 4 touches, which really shows his lack of involvement when he was central striker. But I did feel like off the left did show a massive improvement, and I do think in general, Sheffield United, he came off the bench, got a goal and assist. Last week against Arsenal, made a bit of an impact when coming off the bench as well. And I thought started this game against Liverpool and showed some quality.
Yeah, he was causing a nuisance. He was being a nuisance of himself, or making a nuisance of himself for throughout the whole time he was on the pitch, to be honest, especially in the first half or when he was out on the left. And I feel like this role on the left with Heung-min Son in the middle is the way to go, to be honest. I'm really liking the mentality from Richarlison since coming back from the internationals. He seems to be getting to grips with things, getting in and amongst it, being aggressive, providing quality as well. I know he didn't get on the score sheet, but in the last couple of games, he's been getting on the score sheet, grabbing himself assists. So I think we're going in the right directions with Richarlison. And after the first kind of moments or the first 5 games of the season, you were thinking, all right, is it ever going to click for Richarlison? But I think you're starting to see the early signs of it really starting to click for him now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And last but not least, VAR messes up. And this, look, we have to admit, as much as we got the win and we're absolutely delighted with it, the PGMO obviously announced after the game that there was a massive error in VAR with that Luis Diaz goal, and you have to just take that into account when looking at the result of this game. They confirmed after the game as well that the goal was checked by VAR and they did see the lines, but what happened was that the VAR assumed that the goal was given on the pitch, and they didn't realize that the decision on the field was actually given offside, and they were supposed to be checking whether the goal should be given. And so when they said check complete, what happened was the referee assumed the check was complete for the offside and not the onside, which the VAR was assuming they were checking for. So an almighty cock up from VAR, and Spurs definitely got away with one. But with all the bad refereeing decisions that Spurs have had over the years, not to notice as well the Champions League final, definitely we got our own back on that one, but we definitely got away with one in that situation.
Yeah, massively so. But like I keep saying, I am here for it. The amount of times that Liverpool have done this, the amount of times the boot's been on the other foot, it's just so nice and refreshing to finally be on the kind of winning end of one of these decisions. Like, it's just the amount of times it's happened to us against Liverpool. It's just crazy how many times you're actually talking about, where you're looking at the Sissoko one, Jota one from last year, the offside one from a couple of years ago, the amount of missed chances as well that we've had against them. I mean, it's just so nice for Spurs to have their own slice of luck against Liverpool. So I'm not hearing any of the Liverpool fans' complaints because they've had years of it.
100%, absolutely 100%. So those are your 5 takeaways of things we can learn from the Liverpool game, and thank you for that.